Hello, my name is Franklin, and today we have a Skyjack SJ135 scissor lift. The customer says it will not go up and will not go down, won't crank, and won't start. You see I have my trusty fluke here, and I have it set on DC voltage, and we're going to check the battery first before we start fooling with anything. So put the positive on one lead, the negative on the other. It doesn't really matter which one you put it on. It'll still read, just read backwards, and it says 12.5 volts, so 12.4, so that should be good. All right, next thing we're going to do is get a screwdriver and make sure the engine actually cranks. Okay, the battery reads 12 volts. We're going to actually see if it has power. We're going to check the starter, and we're going to check the engine cranking system right now. That is so it does crank. La llave está prendida, ¿verdad? Okay, so we did that. Now we know that the starter is good, the battery is good, and the engine is actually good too, but it doesn't stay running. So that's probably going to be either a safety circuit or it's going to be some kind of a control relay or switch. So that's good. It could be that this is the low oil pressure sensor. This is the high temperature sensor. And it could be that it's sticking out like this too. There may be a sensor on the rail. Also, it could be a sensor on the door over there. Okay, what we want to check though first is the fuel shutoff solenoid. It should be over here. ¿No cranquea, señor? ¿Cómo lo estarías? ¿Así con este nomás? ¿Siempre?
Ahí debería de dar, si no dejo de acá.
Okay. That. Okay. Okay. We checked all the relays. The relays are good. We found it's got circuit breaker here. And here it's missing one circuit breaker, but I have a fuse in its place and the fuse is blown. So to test it, we're going to pull the fuse out and put in a wire there temporarily. Okay. It kicked on. ¿Se escuchó que prendió, verdad? Sí, estarelo. Okay, now we're going to check and see if it actually starts up and runs. Okay, what's that noise? Oh, it's in reverse or neutral, something like that. I hear a neutral switch or you hear that? Ese es el ruido que se oye. ¿Está en reversa o algo? O a lo mejor tiene que estar adentro. Hasta que prenda, ¿se prende? ¿Estarelo? Okay. So, the problem is this fuse right here. Let's check the amps and see what it's reading. We'll know if it needs to be no amps at all. We're going to cut it off and start it up again. Okay, apágalo, préndelo, apágalo. Y lo estrella otra vez, a ver si encuentra. Okay, so it gives the amps. While it's starting, it starts up at high amps. That's why the fuse blew. So they have a circuit breaker, so if it cranks too high of amps, the starter's bad, they just reset the breaker. But since it broke, it blew, and they put a fuse in instead. The fuse blew but didn't reset because it's not a circuit breaker. If this one here blows, it's supposed to have a circuit breaker here, so when it has too many amps, it just pops out. If the starter is hard to start or whatever, takes too long, it pops the circuit breaker out, and when you let it cool off and you push it back in. Since they took out the circuit breaker and they put in that fuse, then of course fuses don't reset themselves, they just blow. So we need to get a circuit breaker and put it in there, and it should work fine. Okay, since we don't have another circuit breaker like this here, we'll order one. But in the meantime, I will go buy a self-resetting circuit breaker. See, this one was here on a circuit breaker just like this one. When it overdraws amps, it pops out, and then you let it cool off and you push it back in. But it's missing. They took it out and they put in a fuse, and when the fuse blew, it stays blown. It doesn't reset itself. You can't reset it. So they don't have these here locally. I can order one. But what I can do, they want to use it right now. They don't want to wait. I will put in a self-resetting circuit breaker. We have some of those, automotive type. If it's too much amps, it will trip. Let it cool off for 52 seconds, and then it will reset itself. As you can see, when I had the amp meter on it, it was drawing about, I'd say 25 amps. So what we're going to do is get a circuit breaker around 25 amps. Okay, I have installed this right here in place of the circuit breaker. There used to be a circuit breaker right here. Used to be the same as this one right here. Someone took it out and put it in a fuse, and the fuse blew. The problem was that this one here, when you trip it, you push the button and you reset it. A fuse won't reset. So I went out and bought this one right here. This is an automatic resetting circuit breaker. I bought it at O'Reilly's for $6. So we installed this one. We're going to give it a shot. ¿Está bien, señor? All right. So we are good to go. Hágalo. Okay, that's good. We are done here. Okay, that concludes this video. Please subscribe to my channel. This was a quick one, but not always quick. Thank you very much for watching, and please hit that like button.